All right, guys, it's 2022. And to kick off 2022, we want to talk about January.
Yep.
Because that's what month it is. And you guys need to know what bait you need to fish.
Exactly.
And so, that's what we're going to talk about. I mean, you can see our last few videos, we've talked about 2022 now. We talked about what we're going to do. Some big stuff, by the way. Some stuff that's going to help us get out there on the water.
Indeed.
Big things happening, but if you want to know about that, check out our last couple videos. We'll actually have those on the end screen, but make sure you stick around to the end so you can see every single bait that we recommend throwing in January. There's 5 of them.
Yep.
So let's just kick it off. Here we go. Finesse swim bait. So basically, all I mean by finesse swim bait is just taking your favorite small swim bait. I mean, it doesn't even really have to be a small one. It can be any swim bait you want, and it's going to vary based on where you're at in the U.S. or worldwide. But just take a little just a little jig head there, a little ball head or swim jig head, whichever one you want to do, and throw your favorite swim bait on there.
Yep.
Now this is a little dipper in the Houdini color by Reaction Innovations. It's a good little bait. I mean, that's what, like maybe 3 inches. I'm not actually positive how long the
Maybe like, yeah,
2.8 to 3 inch. It's a good little bait. It's got that finesse presentation, got a little bit of kick, but just throw that out there slowly, drag it along, don't do too much.
no.
That's the main key that you're going to see throughout this video.
Slow.
Again, slow down. And we talked about this in the last couple of videos we've done like this,
Yes.
but more so now than ever, slow down. I mean, you see that progression through fall into winter. Now we're in the middle of winter, and you really got to be going slow, because ain't no lethargic bass going to be wanting chasing down your baits, okay?
No.
But slow down. I mean, as slow as you think you're going, slow down. Make it excruciatingly slow with any of these baits, and that's how you're going to catch bass.
Yep.
We'll move on from that. I mean, that's really all I got to tell you guys on that one.
Next, blade baits.
Blade baits, yes. We both got one laying here.
Yes. This is the 10,000 fish Death Stalker.
And this is the steel shad. Steel shad.
Yep. That is what most people think of when they hear blade bait.
Yeah, this is a classic. Yeah, especially the guys up north are going to know about this one. I mean, the steel shad's just been around for years.
Yep.
And blade baits in general are a more northern technique.
Yes.
It's just, that's where they're from, that's where they're used, and they've been using them for years up there, and they've been slaying bass on them in the wintertime. Now Trey's got a newer one, of course. This one came out, what, this past year?
Yes.
Maybe the end
2021.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you can see they're still making new ones.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a proven bait, and it's a good bait. And think of this as a lipless crankbait, but more subtle, and just focusing on the vibration, not the noise.
Exactly.
You fish it the same way. Well, there's a couple different things you can do. You can vertical jig it if you want.
Yep.
And
Ice
that works.
fishing. I've seen people
Yep.
drop them down their hole and just vertically
Absolutely.
jig these
You
things.
can do that. But otherwise, work it just like you would a lipless. You can straight retrieve if you want to. I would recommend yo-yoing it through the water. That's probably your most effective, I think. But again, remember, slow down. When you're doing that yo-yo, when you let it fall, and then you go to lift it back up, make sure it only vibrates like 2 or 3 times. 4 max. And I'm telling you, you'll nail them on it.
Yes.
Now, Trey, yours is a little different.
Yes, this has a small little kicker willow blade to add a little bit flash, maybe a little extra commotion, vibration, hit that lateral line on the bass. But just also understand, you know, they're lethargic. They're not going to really want to work for these things. So you really have to do your job as the fisherman to put these in front of the fish.
Yeah.
And work them the way you need to.
And some companies just put like streamer material out the back.
I've seen small Colorados.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's all kinds of differentials on it. This one's naked, like me on most Saturdays, but that's pretty much all we gotta say about the blade bait.
Oh, I also forgot. This Death Stalker has 2 spots to where you can rig it from.
Absolutely.
You can rig it closer towards the head.
As does the steel shad.
Or closer towards the middle, depending on what presentation you're wanting to go for.
Yeah.
More diving, action looking, or more just straight lateral.
And I've seen some blade baits that have 4 or 5 holes.
Yeah.
No joke. I mean, them guys up north really know how to fine tune them. But next, I think we're talking about the Arig. So, this is an Arig, Alabama rig. umbrella rig, whatever you want to call it. Most of the time rigged up with different swim baits.
Yeah.
I got a couple grubs on here, followed by that skinny dipper again, little dipper.
Smaller version of a skinny dipper.
Yeah, I was doing some experiments with this in a pond. Stay tuned for updates on that, but for now, we're just going to talk about, boy, it is windy.
Yeah.
As you can see, multiple wires. These are stiffer wires. They're not the lightest of wire. You can also see these willow blades. You can fish it with or without willow blades, depending on your conditions, you know, like sunny days versus cloudy days or windy days. Most of the time, though, your two top baits. Now, I will point out, this is Kentucky, and it is legal to have a fully rigged 5-hook A-rig.
Indeed.
Now, that might change for you in your state. I know some states only allow 2, some only allow 1, some allow 3, 4, whatever.
Don't catch a fine, check your edge.
Exactly, follow the law. Now, you're gonna want to just check this out there, slow roll it back, throw in some pops. I know this heavier wire makes it a little harder to jerk it and do pop maneuvers and whatnot, but lighter wires, a little more light wire, you know, stuff like that, lighter overall, are easier to do that jerking and popping maneuver. But that will help you entice bites right now. Smaller baits on top, especially if you have dummies. A little bit larger on the bottom. This will help to keep it upright and keep from twisting and such. But also on your back bait, or the bait that sticks out the furthest, you want it to be a little bigger. That's why I got that little dipper on there. And maybe a little different. Maybe you paint the tail chartreuse or something.
Just something to make
Something
it
a little
stand
different.
out.
That's the one you want to be bit, and then the other ones are just there to potentially catch another bass.
They also do make smaller A-rigs.
Yeah, they make 3-wire, 5-wire, 6-wire, 12-wire. You know, them old ones, the original A-rigs, giant.
Yes.
I don't understand how you even throw that unless you're using like a dang surf rod.
Massive, heavy suckers.
Right.
But they're, and you know, you could do all sorts of modifications to yours.
Absolutely.
You could swap the blades out, like Logan said, or you could just flat out remove them.
Yep.
You know, you could tune these things to the way you want them to run, and that's some of the beauty with the A-rig.
Right. But definitely a proven bass catcher in the wintertime.
Next is another proven all year round winter, or all year round bass catcher, but especially winter.
Yeah, I mean, they really shine in the winter, and you've heard us talk about them over the last couple of weeks, but specifically in January, you want to throw a suspending jerkbait, definitely.
And the name of the game is, like with everything else, slow down, and in my opinion, colors.
Yeah, colors are a main thing to point out this time of year. And y'all pointed out a couple of months ago, the color doesn't really matter. Well, that is true, but this is kind of different. So in the wintertime, we pointed out in that video that depending on your water clarity, you do want to change up the color of your baits.
Yep.
Now in the wintertime, your water gets a little more clear.
Yes.
Right? You know, you got clear, ultra clear to lightly stained, mostly throughout the winter. So most of the time, you're going to be wanting to throw a translucent jerkbait.
Or semi-translucent in these cases. Personally, this is more of a Rayburn pattern. In ultra clear water, I would be throwing this. It's just overall lighter. In more stained water, I'd be throwing this darker color. And these are both good colors for ponds. Rayburn, while it doesn't really mimic any sort of like pond bait fish, bluegill, sunfish.
I mean, you could argue if you got like ruby reds in your pond, like that kind of minnow, you can do that. I mean, it kind of looks just like a natural minnow color, really.
Yeah.
I think.
But then this carbon color is really good for bluegill. It's got that white bottom with the black top with the green sides. Really good.
Right.
Now, if you're fishing in lakes, obviously you may want a deeper diving than one for ponds. Right. But also you may want to change your color up to a more shad pattern, like an all white.
Right.
Or if you have shiners, a bronze or gold.
Right. Yeah, in ponds, you want to stick that 1 to 5 foot range for the most part, because that'll cover most ponds for you. Lakes, you might want to go, 7 to 12.
Yep.
You know, depending on how deep you're going to get. You know, depending on where you're at, that depth is really going to change, so you'll have to adjust for that. And then, like Trey said, you know, shad lakes, stuff like that, whites, sexy shad kind of colors, shad patterns. That might be the way you want to go.
Maybe a little white chartreuse just for a little extra flair.
Yeah, you can still match the hatch.
but really slow down. You want to have
Really.
some long pauses. You
Right.
don't need to be ripping this sucker back constantly.
Right. Some guys take 20-second pauses. You know, some guys do. I'm not that kind of guy, but you know, if that's what it requires, you know, that's what you got to do. You know, I'm tending to make 5 to 10-second pauses. Jerk, jerk, pause 10 seconds.
Yep.
Jerk, jerk, pause 7 to 10 seconds.
Which to the average power fisher type guy, that's excruciatingly slow.
And
You want to chuck this sucker and get it back, but in the winter, that's not how you do it.
Exactly.
It's just not going to work well.
Absolutely. And you know, vary up your retrieve. See what works for you. You know, what we say here might apply differently to you. So
Indeed.
make sure you test it out.
Try slow straight retrieve. That may be doing it.
Absolutely. And I think after that, we're to our last bait, correct?
Indeed.
All right.
Mayhaps.
Now we're going to get a little bit finessey. And it is definitely one of Trey's favorite things to throw. Me, I kind of dislike throwing it, but I do understand, and I do throw it when I need to. And that would be the Ned rig.
Ooh boy.
Oh yeah. Now Trey can explain the Ned rig to you pretty good, so I'll let you really
Alright.
focus on that.
So, the Ned rig essentially is just a mushroom head jig that can either have an EWG or a worm hook, straight worm hook, and you put a little soft plastic on it, and it's just a small little bottom bouncing bait, although originally the Ned rig was created to swim. Most people now just fish it as a bottom bouncing bait, and this sucker year-round catches fish. You can power fish these things in the spring and fall. I do it all the time, but especially in hard conditions like winter, these suckers just get bit.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're targeting like riprap or rock, where fish are pulled up and stacked on it because it's warmer.
Absolutely.
You can fish this sucker, bounce it off that rock. It makes a little bit more commotion that way, and they absolutely slurp these things. Currently on this Ned is the Ned Ocho from Strike King.
Absolutely.
Really good Ned bait, but we can't talk about Neds without Sakoshi Bugs.
10,000 fish Sakoshi bug. Like Trey, I mean, everybody makes a Ned rig bait. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Robo Worm, Zoom, Strike King, 10,000 fish. Berkeley.
Walmart, Ozark Trail's probably going to have one
They
soon.
probably will. I mean, they are really expensive. And I'll tell
trying.
you what, I'm liking Ozark Trail baits. I don't care what you say.
Cheap and they
You're
good.
not getting better for $2.
They hold up better than Guggen.
But anyway, 10,000 fish Sakoshi bug. I heard you slip that in. 10,000 fish Sakoshi bug definitely holds up better than Guggen.
Oh yeah, stretch X, it works, man.
You can't talk about Ned rigs without talking about these.
Nah.
You can't talk about finesse jigs without talking about these. You can't talk about smalley fishing without talking about these. And they really do just light them up. And I'm going to
Yes.
take them out of the box here. We'll skip through all this for you. Yippee-ki-yay.
There it is.
Now you see it's just a little bug-looking dude, look like a chest burster. But ultra stretchy. You got that Stretch X technology.
Catch 100
You can
fish on that
really
sucker.
stretch them out too. But I mean,
Don't rig it up wrong.
little.
It's hard to fix.
That's true. It's just like Z-Man Elastec.
Yep.
So take that into account. It will last you forever, but can be a little difficult to rig up. But once you get it on there, I mean, that is a fish catching machine.
Yes, sir.
And they hold up. You can catch all kinds of fish on them.
In comparison to the Ned Ocho, you can see if you shake it and wiggle it, it's a lot more limp in the body. It's got a lot more
Absolutely.
action in the body.
But of course, this is already rigged up on a hook.
Yeah.
But we'll say that to be honest with you. But I promise you that that does not do this. And this one just gets it.
Yep.
And I'm trying not to do anything.
The tendrils.
He's looking like he's gonna stand up. I guess not. He did get a little crimped in the package, but that's okay.
But those tendrils are really dead. All they kind of do is just maybe sit there and tickle
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little bit.
They don't have any flanges, and man, these things just get bit by everything.
That's a good looking color too. I mean, that's that Twilight color, screen pumpkin. Got some purple and black flake in there, laminated with that white pearl with like whitish silver flake in there. That's pretty good looking.
That's honestly my favorite color.
Yeah, I like the green pumpkin. I like the Alabama crawl. I like this Twilight color. Really, I don't think they make a color that I don't like.
No, not really.
And they all catch fish.
Yep.
But
But-
really, that's all we got to talk about.
Exactly. You know, just remember the Ned, remember your jerks, remember just finesse swim baits.
Yep. Alabama rig.
Lake
This is
baits.
mainly for lake guys, but you
Yeah.
can throw this in a pond.
Especially the smaller 3 wires.
I've been doing it lately, so try that out.
And blade baits.
Blade baits.
For us down south, not a staple, but try it.
Try it out. Yeah, you might be surprised. And now all this really depends on where you're at in the country. Some of these might not work for you. I guarantee at least 3 of them will where you're at. Probably 4 or even 5. But I mean, there's other stuff you can throw. You can try out your finesse jigs. You can try out a drop shot. Drop shot would probably catch you a bunch, just like the Ned rig. That's really just a confidence thing.
You could try twitch baits instead of jerk baits like that. Absolutely. A 6th Sense hyper jerk.
Yep. Oh, by the way, we got a video where we talked about that, or 2 videos actually.
Yeah.
Go look at that, dude. That's pretty good looking.
Yep. Catches fish. But no, if you know that some of these may not work, but baits that have similar action do, go for it. Substitute it. Drop a comment down below on what you think about our list. Why did I go into that section already?
Well, I mean, we're closing out anyway.
So.
But before we sign off, we do want to thank you guys so much. We have been growing like crazy over the last couple weeks. We got up to 33 subscribers today. We're pretty, as of filming, we're pretty happy about it. It's over the course of December and the start of January, we've been growing astronomically compared to how we started.
Yeah.
So our goal was what, 25?
25 in 6 months.
6 months. We got to 30 something. So thank you guys so much. It's been a blast so far, and we are definitely going to keep going with this.
Yep.
But with that, we'll sign off. Stick around for 2022. But like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, set that thing to all.
Yes, sir.
Drop a comment down below, like Trey said.
Yeah. Let us know what type of baits you would substitute, if you would add any more to this list, and if you've already caught your first fish of the year, what did you catch it on?
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to know what you guys been doing, how you started off your year. Let us know.
Yep.
Let us know if you'd like us to do a giveaway. So that's something we're potentially thinking about doing. We're changing up the channel in 2022.
Yep.
Check out the end screen for the recent videos we've done.
And stay tuned for the new outro.
Oh yeah, new outro. Go check that out. It's pretty good. It's better than the last.
Give it about 5 seconds and it'll be right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Go check it out.